Welcome. It's Tuesday, it's July. You all showed up here. Thank you so much for coming out. My name is Brian Kelly. Welcome to Ann Arbor New Tech, a meetup that's been going on in Ann Arbor since 2009. That lives in the 7th year that I announced earlier this year. I've been helping host this since late last year. And it's just been awesome to see so many new and the same people coming back out. You guys know what I'm going to ask next. Who's a first-timer tonight? Throw up a hand. Without fail. It's always about half the crowd, which I love. There's almost 5,000 members in this group. It kind of blows my mind. Some of you have heard me say before, a big reason why I moved to Ann Arbor in 2012, not only to join Duo at the time, but also saying that there was a couple thousand people in a technology meetup group that was focused on startups. Made me move from Washington D.C. area to Ann Arbor, and I'm here indefinitely. So thanks for coming out tonight. Most important thing, and why do we do this? So there's a lot of brilliant minds in business and technology in all walks throughout this community, and so many of us are busy building our companies and going heads down all the time that it's important to take a break, to take a step back, and go and meet and help support the other people in your community that are also trying to build a company. We're super connected online. I know we have the Slack and everything to get in touch with everyone, but this is once a month we get together, hear people pitch, support them in their pitch, ask them about their business, ask them the tough questions also. So if you do one thing tonight, just meet one person interesting to you that you're going to stay in touch with, and it'll be worthwhile. A thank you to our various people who helped make this happen. So Bryce Pills in the U of M Law School Entrepreneurship Clinic, they help us with the space every month. It's great. Love having a consistent place to come to that's comfortable. A2 Geeks is a nonprofit dedicated to making Southeast Michigan and Ann Arbor a great place for geeks and creatives to live, work, and play. And all the other organizers, this is not a one-man show, Scott, Zach, Doug, David, and everyone else involved, thank you. And of course, can't forget Roger Rail here, his company R2Vive. He does complete recording and live streaming of this event every month. So if one awesome cool thing if you get to pitch is that you get to see a great recording of it and all the audience interaction. So the format, we always do the third Tuesday of each month, 5 companies, 5-minute pitch, 5 minutes of Q&A. I've told all the presenters tonight, as I do, best sort of presentation is to set up the context really well for a broad audience. Why you, why your company, why now? And then make your ask really clear. What do you want from this crowd? You're looking for people, you're looking for money. The agenda will go to about 8 p.m. Usually wrap up by about then. You'll hear the pitch and Q&A from 5 companies we have lined up tonight, and then we'll have time for community announcements. So it's a good time to think about if you want to make an announcement, you're recruiting, you're looking for a job, you have another meetup you want to tell somebody about, another event. We'll make time for everybody to do that after the 5 pitches. Last but not least, my monthly podcast recommendation. Who's been waiting on the edge of their seat. This one I heard about actually through somebody I think I met through New Tech a couple years ago. It's called The Full Ratchet. The host is Nick Moran. Fullratchet.net. It's about angel investing, startup raising money. Check out their most recent 2 episodes from early July with Dave McClure. If you don't know who Dave McClure is, he runs an incubator accelerator called 500 Startups. And he did a 2-part interview of What's Wrong with Venture. He's just a really candid, down to earth, maybe a little critical, but in a let's make all this better kind of way. So The Full Ratchet, that's my recommendation. All right, that's the end of my spiel, and I'm very pleased to welcome Dallas Chase to the stage from Artificially Intelligent Machine Shop. And they currently are designing CNC equipment for machine shops, and soon they'll be opening up their own shop. And he comes in today from Lansing. So with that, plug in and go.
Awesome, appreciate it. Thanks, Brad. So Artificially Intelligent Machine Shop, what our mission is really to accelerate the growth of manufacturing in the United States And how we're going to do that is by creating an autonomous machine shop. And so where this idea comes from is last summer I was working at Tesla Motors and I was doing powertrain manufacturing engineering. And so my job was to bring and convert a highly manual craftsman style manufacturing line up to today's automated manufacturing line. And so how you do that is you go ahead and you do your SolidWorks and you design a bunch of custom parts, and then you send those out to machine shops to have made, right? So this is the process of automating a line is a very iterative process, because you have an idea, you try it out, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and you got to go back to the drawing board and a bunch of revisions. But what makes this process really long, and why it takes manufacturing companies so long to ramp up, is because of the lag time of machine shops. So every time I send my parts out, it's 5 to 6 weeks typically. Sometimes if you've got a small order, you can rush it for 2 weeks. So that's where the idea comes from. And so our goal is to eliminate that lag time. So why does that lag time exist? So machine shops still produce parts craftsman style, where manufacturing plants are not, they're automated, but as far as automation goes for machine shops, they have about CNC machines, but someone still has got to be there, someone still has to program the machine, someone still has to run it, right? And why are they that way? Is because they're only producing one part. They have to produce a unique part each time. Manufacturing plants, they're going to produce thousands and thousands of the exact same part, so you can have a very the system doesn't have to be flexible. It's just going to crank out the same parts over and over again. And so what we want to do is make machine shops be able to be automated, even though they're only going to make this one part, only one time. And how are we going to do that? We are going to group together similar parts. So the first automation system that we are going to do will work with aluminum extrusion. So now each piece of aluminum extrusion used for enclosure is unique. No enclosures are generally the same. But all the processes done to the aluminum extrusion is simple. It's you cut the piece to length. Here's aluminum extrusion, by the way, if you guys want to pass this around. So you cut it to length. You drill holes along the top and sides of it. And that's so you can assemble it together, and then you tap the ends. And so that's how it is, very simple. And we picked this because it's used in almost every application. Every robot needs a cage around it to protect it from operators, and it's simple to machine. But after we do, so that would be the first automation system. The next automation system could do something like jig plates, because they're just essentially plates with holes in them, different cutting patterns. But that's the idea, group similar parts together. So the target market, there's about 20,000 machine shops in the United States, and the target market consists of all those shops together bringing an annual revenue of about $50 billion. But we're not focusing on that right now. We're just focusing on aluminum extrusion, and that market generates specifically T-slot aluminum extrusion too. That's what that is being passed around, and that market consists of about 500 million in revenue, and about 15% of those 15% of their revenue is spent machining the parts. So that's the market that we could address. Our competition is so the Illumitech, that it's like a CNC machine. Problem is it's got to be reprogrammed each time. There's another solution out there called the Tiger Stop. Basically, what it does is you go up to it, you punch in your code, and it moves to its spot. So what our system does is you go online and you use a web application. So your different parameters are entered online. So you go onto our website, you enter in your different parameters, your different lengths for all your different parts, and then basically it populates a database. And that's all you do. So you don't have to do anything else from there, and the machine will take over. So as the machine finishes its parts, it'll draw from a hopper that was shown. So it'll draw from the hopper, do all the machining processes, unload the parts, and it'll do so you can put all the parts in line. It'll machine them through the night, and you can come back in the morning and assemble your parts.
All right.
And so I would like to get your guys' feedback. You guys can ask me questions too, but I'd love to hear your feedback and advice that you have. Yes?
What do the machine shops think of your stealing all their business?
Yeah, so the idea actually isn't that we steal their business. So rather than becoming another machine shop, our go-to-market strategy is to lease the machines to existing shops that do this work in a SaaS model. So the amount of, so they would not be billed on a straight fee of thousands of dollars a month. For every hole it puts in, it'll be $1. For every saw cut, it's $1.50. For every tap done, it's $2. So we're actually helping both of us out.
Got one question.
So there's already machines out there like lathes that'll are like fully automated solutions. And in my experience, the lead time isn't necessarily, it's the setting up of the machine and the programming. So how do you keep that interesting to programming? Because that takes a significant amount of time.
Right. So for this particular case, there's not a lot of programming. For aluminum extrusion, it's a lot of manual work because you wouldn't program a machine to cut something to length. There's no point in wasting that kind of programming. So being able to go in online, and I wish I could show it to you, enter it in really quickly. But as far as the programming, when it gets to parts that have to be programmed with like Mastercam or whatever, you can still go on in and make your programs and upload them to the database, and the machine will do all the material handling and it'll pull the parts as needed. But you won't have that wasted time of having to reprogram in between or do manual material handling.
Okay, that would work for like a very simple case like this, but you get into more complex parts, you're gonna have issues with like, what if the guy who uploads the software for the machine, he doesn't check his tool paths, and you start like running into other things, crashing the machine.
Right.
It's gonna.
Yeah.
That's a big mistake. That's very expensive.
Yeah.
Other questions? Out in the middle.
Are you offering them a whole new machine, or are you just creating a template to make a code for a machine that already
No, so it's a complete automation system with a web application as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are your competitors?
Yeah, so our competitors would be, I had it up there for a moment.
I'll flip it up for you.
Okay, cool. So the Alumitech is a machine that is designed specifically for aluminum extrusion, and its specialty is being able to do a lot of what you were saying, very complex machining. So it'll do like actual machining operations, but it'd be a waste of time to program a machine to cut a piece of aluminum extrusion. It'd be faster to get out of the tape measure market and cut it. But that's manual, so there's obviously a better solution than that. The Tiger Stop is something that is kind of somewhere in between. It's a very simple thing. Basically, it's a computer screen you go up to, you punch in your value. So if you need to cut 1,000 pieces, you go up, punch 1,000 pieces. It's an actuator, it'll move. So then you drop your piece on it and you go and cut it to length. That's just for cutting it. Then you still have to do the same thing for drilling and tapping as well. Our machine does all of those after you enter them in online.
Do some of the large volume proto houses like First Cut, like do they have custom automated machines that they're using? I can't imagine that they're manually doing every job that they get.
So I think what you're talking about is that they're gonna program a CNC machine. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like a lot
So how they do it is they program a CNC machine. Someone goes up and they load the part, and then it'll do some operations, and then more than likely they'll have to unclamp it, reposition it. It'll start it again, do some more machining operations. So it's automated and it's a mix of both.
Just to sort of wrap up on a question, what's the most important thing you need to like move this business forward right now, and how could maybe somebody in this audience connect you with that person or
money?
Yeah, well, everyone likes money, but the big thing we are really looking for is talent. So right now, it's kind of a one-man show. I've got 2 co-founder prospects that are working on the project, but we need talent. Like, we need someone to design the web application. I've done that so far, and I had to learn 5 languages last week to just get a prototype web application up. So if someone here is talented in that area, if someone knows how to use Ignition from inductive automation and write Python scripts that'll plug into that would be, we're looking for those type of people.
Cool. Thanks, Dallas. All right, next up, Steve Hopkins is director at Curo. And coming off anyone that was out last month, we have another healthcare IT company. So Curo is a healthcare solutions company providing meaningful information about the health and well-being of older adults in their homes through the use of ambient sensor technology. And with that, take it away, Steve.
Awesome. Well, it's awesome coming here because this is part of my youth invigoration. You know, to see people like the earlier presenter that's like 1/3 your age is always good for your ego. You know. So yeah, Curo, supporting independence through insight. We chose that as kind of a tagline, and hopefully it's intuitive to a great concept. But basically, maybe many of you have had the opportunity to care for an older adult or certainly care about an older adult. And one of the challenges is, besides maybe resourcing in the best way you know possible, it's really that anxiety that comes with not knowing how things are going when you're not there or care service is there. So yeah, my name is Steve Hopkins. I'm one of the directors with Curo. And really, I'll just spend a brief couple minutes just talking about the industry dilemma, our product, and certainly our business model. So, older services, the biggest challenge is the very best solutions we have available are also the most expensive and the least sustainable. Most of you probably know about the demographic issues that are really coming in the next 5 to 7 years. And so that's really the challenge. Whatever the payer source, that's the dilemma. And that's really where Curo comes in. You know, Curo is a solution that uses ambient data from a home environment, contextualizes that in meaningful ways for a number of stakeholders to provide better care at a lower cost for abundantly more people. And that's really the solution our industry is going after. And when I say ambient data, we're talking about a IoT structured organization so that we're using data coming from passive sensors within the home. And we can talk about that a little bit more. And really it's ideal for several stakeholders. And clients that we work with could be one or all of these, but certainly for the individual caregiver that's working with the older adult, this idea of having mobile information at their fingertips that's live, either looking at information as far as how that older adult is doing right that moment, or the last 24 hours of history to really have a better idea of what to do and how to serve that older adult when they first arrive. Certainly organizations that are providers as well. It's the idea if you can just kind of put yourself in that frame of mind where you may have 20, 30, 40 people that you're caring for, and add a snapshot, being able to triage that, look at conditions, look at tasks of well-being that have been achieved or missed in the last day or 2 weeks, trending, things like that, to really start to make the difference of maybe not even what to do, but even who to see today or who to see tomorrow. Becomes really important. One of the IP pieces of data that we have available to us is really an aggregation of all of the sensor information together in a daily score that's on a rolling basis every 36 hours against that person's normal healthy well-being. So not against quantitative norms of a demographic per se, but against that one particular person. And so our data, our software has the ability to kind of learn that person's healthy life in about 30 days and then continually roll into that and give a wellness score. For families, pretty intuitive as far as families. Whether you're involved in caregiving an older adult or just a caring family member, to be able to look at an application or web portal, sometimes seeing what that provider is doing, but certainly knowing how mom or dad is doing that day. And instead of having to call to try to get information which may be accurate or not, being able to actually know what's going on, and that call to mom or dad could be totally different, right? It could be a daughter to mom call instead of a caregiver to a client or a patient call. I think one of the biggest differences is that we've really infused some industry expertise. So the two founders are two brothers from Australia, have a lot of startup experience. I come from the older adult industry for about 10 years as a chief operating officer. And really the difference we've seen is taking certainly a technology solution, but making it an industry solution. So it's not just a technology solution for all those stakeholders that we're talking about. Just because we have access to data doesn't mean companies know how to use it. And many of you will probably face that dilemma as well. We had no revenue in February. I'm proud to say that we've got revenue in 2 companies going right now. We'll probably finish this year at about $700,000, and these are just a sampling of some of the clients that are paying us. Probably the biggest thing we're proud of is the diversity there. Everything from insurance companies to at-risk health centers and regular older adult services as well. Our pricing model, real basic. We have a hardware cost one time up front, and then a $60 a month subscription. And really why am I here? This month we're relocating the company from Melbourne, Australia to Ann Arbor, Michigan. So we're very, very excited about that. And we closed our lead funder last month, so we're really excited about that, but we are looking to close about $500,000 more to get us to about 2.5, and probably 1 or 2 Midwest-focused market industry partners that are willing to kind of be one of those first out of the box in this area. We've got lots of traction in Australia, West Coast, East Coast. But even though we're going to be based here, we don't really have a lot of traction because we've been traveling so much, so we're really looking whether it be a payer source, a senior service provider that wants to jump on board with a pilot and tell a story right here in the Midwest. Thank you.
Great pitch and welcome to Ann Arbor. Happy to have you here. If you'd like to fire off first questions, this arm that went up.
I moved to Ann Arbor.
I live in Dexter, and they hired me in January to be the CEO of the company, so I get to decide. But all kidding aside, we're a company in the United States, obviously for market size. All right. The neat thing about Australia, it's a minute demographic compared to the United States. Same challenges. We have the same challenges across the world, but they're a bit more daring in Australia as far as innovation. So we've done a lot of work there. We've got a lot of paying customers there now. And quite frankly, I don't want to tell a California story. I want to tell a Michigan story. So. Right up.
Down your foot.
Could you give an example of what kind of sensors you have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the market advantages that we have against some of our competitors is we're not building our own stuff because the stuff's going to change, right? And so we've decided just to focus on software. And so the kits we use are Samsung kits. Anybody can buy them. It's about what goes inside them. But we're talking about very, very small motion sensors and accelerometers, basically. So we're measuring motion of people and motion of things that can indicate healthy activities in a home.
Your revenue model, is it who is paying the one-time fee and your monthly subscription?
Mm-hmm. It depends. Right now we're about 85% B2B, and the B then would be whether it be insurance companies, senior service providers. We have an East Coast ACO PACE program. So that business that's providing services for older adults are paying that. All right, and then they're either in a business model where they're looking to reduce costs, and that's a positive ROI on that, or they're kind of doing a B2B to C themselves. And we have a large player out in South Dakota that's doing just that. They're advocating for family caregivers directly, and so it's kind of a B2B to C play.
Do you have to deal with any HIPAA regulations with data?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of our competitors, because we're not dealing with clinical information, is probably debatable. They've taken a very strong stance that they don't, and it's well documented why. For us, we're just assuming that we are, and so we're abiding by that. And same with some of the high-tech, data security things. So because of the type of information that's being collected, it's not clear but we're just safeguarding. We've got a couple projects where we might white label with a telehealth provider, for instance, and so we're just covering ourselves for that, for that case.
Question up in the back.
So what happens once you identify a wellness score and the score is going down?
Yeah, so we, one of the industry expertise that we bring is certainly being able to offer service that's a great dilemma. So there's lots of applications where we have great information, but teams, and in this case, this would be service providers, we're not the service provider. We're providing data for service providers to change their workflow and change the way they care. So different than a lot of technology firms, we would say that we're there to offer suggestions, like run service programs, and so we talk about the ability to use the same number of people to care for 10 times as many people, for instance. Lots of it has to do with communication, and so it could be just, hey, what's our triage level? What are different ways of intervention, lower cost ways of intervention? And what we're finding, and we've known all along, is the sooner you know about a negative change, the more options you have for lower cost intervention. It's when we don't know and we wait that we lose options, and most of the options remaining are very, very expensive.
Other question?
How is the data and the monitoring being gathered in terms of, how does the system know that something good is happening versus something bad in that first 30 days?
Yeah.
And how do you quantify that it's always false positives versus false negatives?
Yeah, so just a real quick thing. We start with a profile, so an interview profile as far as what normal is like, right? And so that's relative to that person. In about 30 days, we have an opportunity to kind of tweak the system and change some things. So, you have the ability to set up a task, something as simple as I normally go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, okay? That revelation to us or the provider may have been true and accurate, or maybe not. Certainly data will tell us if something is that way or not. And then you have an opportunity to say, well, actually it's 10 o'clock, and so let's shift that. And then it's just about trends and using that data to say what normal is like. Any kind of task like that you can set up alerts to as well. So if you place a very high priority on something like med management and say, hey, if they miss that 12 o'clock med, I don't want it just recorded. I want a text message to go to that care provider.
How do you know they took a med with an accelerometer and a motion sensor?
I'll be happy to talk with you afterwards about that.
Yeah.
We get paid for that information.
We'll wrap up questions. All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Next up, we have Jason from Programax from the west side of the state. Made it all the way in here today. He's going to tell us about their web-based app that provides coaches a better way to deliver customized strength and skill workouts, communicate with parents and athletes, and build momentum in their program.
That's great.
Take it away.
That's great. I need everybody to do this with me right here with your hands together. Put your hands together like this, and on the count of 3, when I say 3, we're going to give a 2 clap, like quick clap, clap, like right together, all together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Great, thanks. Welcome to the Programax pitch. My name is Jason. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a coach. Right? So this is what I love doing. I love leading groups of people.
Stay in the coach's box.
Stay in the coach's box. Do I get technical foul if I get kicked out? If I go out? So Programax is a platform that we developed to help solve problems in our program. And the cool thing about it is that there's hundreds of other coaches, thousands of other coaches out there that want our product, hundreds that are now currently using it at our early stage. So what is it exactly? There's a problem here in the coaches' space, and that's that they are being, coaching happens in the margins. So as a coach, I have a full-time job. I'm a former college coach, now a high school coach. High school coaches have full-time jobs. They coach in the evenings. It takes them away from their family. There's all kinds of pulls on them. They have to mentor their lower-level coaches. They have athletes that they have to develop from the youth space all the way up until the varsity team. And then they have parents, right? Everybody knows how hard that is for coaches to deal with parents. Any parents of athletes in the room that get to deal with coaches and back and forth? Yeah, absolutely. A lot of challenges there, and being pulled in a bunch of directions. Coaches can have an infinite amount of impact on these groups, but have a very finite amount of time that they can do it. So Programax comes in and helps coaches to communicate and strategize and organize their programs with lower level coaches, athletes coming up in their programs, and developing those athletes through our web-based app, and then communicating out with parents. Mitigating the issues that happen before they start because of proactive communication. So the basic fundamental pieces of what we have start with training. This is the hook with our customer base of coaches. They buy this, and this is what the kids love. The coaches can develop custom workouts, both strength and skill workouts for their athletes, and deliver them right to their phones. Think of the star player at the high school or from the area that shows up right on a kid's phone. They watch it, they do the drill, just like the coach taught them to, and just like they watch from the video, and then they record their results right in the app. That gets pushed to a live leaderboard and gamifies the experience for the kids. So they're competing against their teammates across town, no matter where they're at. All of these other things that are on the outside are things that make my life easier. They're the things that save me hours. The typical coaching staff at the varsity level in high school spends 2,500 hours a year running their programs. This mitigates a lot of the management pieces that happen at night at 11:30 and the emails and text messages that go out. Our market currently in the United States, where our focus is, there's applications in a lot of other spaces where we're staying locked in and focused with head coaches. That there's 1 million head coaches in the United States. When we break that out, one customer for us equals about 45 users. Because the coach buys it, the parents get on it, the athletes get on it, and then all of his assistant and lower level coaches get on it. His or her assistant and lower level coaches. This puts us at, we can monetize this at a $500 per customer level, and makes it a $500 million market, and there's 68 million users, potential users, between athletes, coaches, and parents out there in our space. To date, we went through, last summer we went through a stage of proof of concept, went out and sold our product, and people bought it. That was fun. So that was just me, one-man show doing that. We hired a team last fall and moved to a place where we went from 40 to 250 customers in May, and now we're in the stage of and that was proof of viability. This is our customer map right here. It's a broad reach that we have of customers across the United States. People are interested in what we're doing. And now it's time to scale. How do we scale? And that's the focus that we have in this next stage. How do we go from 250 to 2,000 customers? Active growth. We have 12,000 users, registered users. 60% of them, if you see that bottom right number, 7,581, have logged in the last 30 days. Here's our competition. The thing that sets us apart is the comprehensiveness of our platform. And this is the big step that we're in right now. We have $200,000 of our $550,000 committed currently in our seed round. We want to raise this for 18 months of budget. And so we've become profitable and move towards fast-paced growth. You can see the outline of the things that we're going to achieve in this round with that funding in this next phase. So I'll pull that back up. We're here today because we want customers, right? We want more users and more people. You know, people that are coaches. This makes their lives easier. Secondly, funding. Like I said, that $550,000 round, and then the space that we're really locked in to focus on is learning and growing in the digital marketing. A lot of one-to-one sales at this space. Our cost of acquisition is about $400 per customer. Our price point is $250. No matter how we run that model, it's not scalable. So that's the next step. How do we get our revenues up and our costs down so that we can scale and grow quickly?
All right, awesome. Fire away.
So what do you mean by launch the product in new markets? Looking
Yeah,
at
that's
the
a good
map, it looks like covering the U.S. Do you mean new countries? Or?
Yeah, so that's international is a really easy space to go in. We have customers in Australia, Europe, and obviously Canada. But that's not even really what that means. We've not marketed in any of those places. We'd like to grow the app. There's interest. There's club teams that this is really applicable to. But we've created a content delivery system. So anybody who wants to educate a large group of people, we have a platform that allows them to create custom content and deliver it to them. So we have whole schools will sign up for this, and their theater team and their band directors. are interested in using this to put this out, put the information, how do you practice those types of hobbies or extracurricular activities, how do you get to deliver that content to them so they can track and watch what their students are doing in those scenarios. So the markets that we're targeting are sports camps and personal trainers, so people who are training physical fitness kind of stuff, individuals there. We have beta testers for both of those that are ready for that. And then the last thing is the personal training space of, my dad just broke his pelvis, he got a stack of papers, said, here's how you should go do your workouts for your personal training. Well, there's got to be a better way to deliver that content and track it, right? So those are the spaces that we're exploring in this next round as well.
Have you thought about white labeling and co-branding with, high schools or county rec leagues or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of interest in the white label piece of it. It's not that hard to develop and make that simple. Right now, they get their logo and they get their name on the top of their Programax account. To choose their colors and make that customizable, it's a really simple thing to add in the product development. Questions here?
Yeah, you talked about content delivery. Where is the content coming from?
Yeah, so
is there any way to certify the safety of it when you talk about, training videos and stuff?
Yep, so the coach is the one that uploads it, or the owner, the customer uploads their own content. So it's a blank canvas and they can paint whatever picture they want. And so they're the ones that do it. There's releases that say that's your space to live in. We also sell content. So we partner with the University of Michigan strength coach that develops all of our strength and conditioning stuff. If you don't want to develop your own videos to deliver to your athletes, you can buy ours. So that's another revenue stream that we generated over the last 6 months.
What are the top 2 items that your current customer base is saying you need to improve?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say the thing that we hear most often is we're a web-based app right now, and it's all scalable, so it goes down to the mobile view for athletes. That coaches and athletes want a native app. Obviously, from the development standpoint, we chose web-based to be more agile early on, but there's a lot of responsiveness that we can add to our product and ease of use that we can add to our product there. We have that scheduled for launch next spring, pending funding and putting the team in place to make that happen. So, second one. Gosh.
Who else has a question?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to get it. Thoughts on that.
You said that your price point is $250.
Yeah.
And earlier you said the market depends on $500. I guess.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the structure and who pays what and how it's paid?
Sure. Everything's paid for by the coach of the school. 10% of our customers pay for it out of pocket. That means a coach who's making a teacher salary plus a stipend is paying for the $250 out of their pocket. Most often it's the school that pays for it. We're early adopter pricing, $250 annual subscription. We see that bumping up this fall already to $300. We think we'll live around $400, and we have other ways that we're monetizing the app through other revenue streams. Going back to the native app piece of it, end users, can we have them pay $1 to participate in a national leaderboard or national competition to do in-app purchases? We're already also collecting revenue from camps, summer camps, so they sign up for summer camp online and they take a cut of that. Other things like that for the revenue. That's how we get up to that $500 price point.
Cool. We're just out of time for questions. Thank you so much for. Really appreciate it. Everyone, go tell your coach or your kid's coach to go check this app out. Really appreciate having you here. So next, I'd like to welcome Sandy Kronenberg from Service.com. Service.com, if you need help in your home, chat, hire, and pay with any Service Pro using Service.com. It's a very inexpensive domain name that they were able to buy recently. Take it away.
Hi, Sandy Kronenberg, CEO of Service.com. So what's the problem? The problem is that homeowners needing service lack a clear, consistent way to interact with home service pros. And on the flip side, home service pros often leave homeowners in the dark with poor communication, scope of work, and payment process. Today, there's just no easy way to find, chat, hire, and pay on the web and or in mobile devices. So what's the solution? So we're building an experience that's so valuable and easy that consumers and pros will want to manage all of their home repair, maintenance, and renovation jobs on a single platform, the Service.com platform. And so we know that the market exists. If we look at household names like Angie's List or Home Advisor, you've got Home Advisor, which has some 30 million unique lifetime visitors, which if you think about homeowners in the US, that's 1 in 4. So there's 115 million homeowners in the US, and so that's pretty significant. You look at Angie's List, they have about 12 million users per month going to their platform. The problem is they're going after the wrong market. They're actually going after leads, and they're going after search and essentially match. They're not going after the absolutely massive market that exists. It's a $400 billion market that they're not tapping. And so quite literally, you look at the little yellow house on the top right, it's less than 1%. Less than 1% of home services is actually consumed online. That's 99.3% that's offline. And so essentially, you know this shift is going to online just like all these other industries. And so this is just the beginning where you've got 1% now, and essentially it's going to triple in the next 5 years. So what have we done? We've built a product that's quite literally a comprehensive solution that addresses the needs of both consumer and pro that's across the entire home services value chain. So again, search and match are the first things that most people have familiar with, the Home Advisors, the Angie's Lists of the world, but we continue to go deeper into hire, pay, and fulfill. And so if you look at a competitive review, Service.com is the only company capable of capturing the spend across the entire value chain today. And so if you look on the left here, you've got search and match, which is about a $5 billion total spend with companies like Angie's List, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, Porch. Yelp is now getting into it. Google's had 4 different attempts at trying to get into it. But again, they haven't addressed hire, pay, and fulfill, that $400 billion market segment. So what is our model? Essentially, we're interested in being Uber for the service industry. So we take a small success fee on the transaction with a service pro. So as an example, if you're a consumer, you hire a service pro to do something in your home, we're going to take 7% of that transaction. So we have a competitive advantage in the fact that we're first to market across the home service value chain with find, chat, hire, pay. We also have developed a very robust set of tools for the service pros themselves so that they actually want to use the platform. And then of course we have a brand like Service.com, which people naturally flock to. So now that we've built essentially the complete digital solution across the entire value chain, you look at competitors like Angie's List with a current industry-leading market share of 0.3%, that's how fragmented the industry is. They plan on getting there, and in fact they've announced that last month at their quarterly earning that over the next 3 or 4 years they're going to be developing chat, hire, pay, fulfill. So quite literally I think we have a little bit of a jump on them. So we've got milestones where we've built the platform, and this August we are actually building our market launch playbook with some limited marketing here in Southeast Michigan with the intent in Q4 to have a nationwide launch. So what's my ask? Why am I here? We are interested in market adoption, and so we're going to do the traditional digital and I guess you would say kind of marketing spends. We've established a number of nationwide channel partnerships. We've got a couple more potential partners on the way. We've got some growth hack ideas, but what our ask really is about is people. It's about finding people who have experience with national launches. We're looking for advisors, mentors in that realm. Thank you.
Let's get some questions for Sandy.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if you looked at this idea of actually scheduling. I know the biggest problem I've had when scheduling a pro is not knowing when they're available.
So absolutely, and it's a big focus, and we built already the ability to do appointments, and so field service management is actually our pedigree, it's our history. So we get field service management, and so we'll be developing field service management tools for the SMB and partnering with mid-market enterprise, large existing field service management providers already.
So are you going to be competing with the Click Softwares of the world? Or?
No, we're going to try and partner with many of those. At the end of the day, we have an open API that can easily be plugged into, and we're talking to a number of FSMs right now.
Awesome.
So for all my stuff, we typically go on personal referrals for home repair, and then a lot of the places we do work with can barely turn their computers on. They're very low tech. So I'm curious how you merge a low tech laggard service market with this, which the customers may want but the providers can't.
Yeah, so tying in an individual personal favorites, if you will, is very important. And so that will be coming really shortly with the ability to have your favorites and share your favorites with your friends. We focused on the core platform first and have the ability to do, as I talked about, the entire value chain, but we're going to be digging in and tying it in with social and having it be very friendly to the point where you can share it with your friends at the click of a button, but also to address the issue with the service pro who doesn't really know how to use a smartphone at the end of the day. What we've done is we've built out a very robust project management team. And that project management team is actually providing service concierge. In addition to some bots that we're going to have that kind of push them along, but yes, they need their nudges. And so if a day goes by and they haven't responded to that consumer, our project managers are currently all over them and saying, hey, you need to respond and communicate with the details that they've asked for. And so we're helping keep projects on track, and it's working great.
What's your end game?
Grow.
So you grow. What are you going to do after that?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a little personal. This is not my first rodeo. I've built a number of businesses and successfully exited them before in the past. Maybe you would call them singles and doubles. I'm interested in a triple or a home run. But at the end of the day, I would say that the growth associated with a business like this is interesting monetarily, but also because it's a pain point that I have and everyone else who's a homeowner. So I'm interested in solving that problem.
Just out of curiosity, how much did you pay for your domain?
7 figures, is a little bit north of that.
Do you have any cheap domain purchase options there? As a service?
So we actually provide for all of our service pros an ability to have a very short, unique URL that they can actually provide. And some of our service pros are using our platform instead of having a separate website and creating a WordPress site. And so service.com/emptypools as an example.
You were at Home Depot launching in November, Service Depot by Home Depot.
So yeah, Home Depot bought a company called Red Beacon about 4.5 years ago for about $200 million. Lowe's has purchased Porch, and I can go on and on about the competitive matrix out there. But quite literally, there is an enormous differentiator, if you will, between the value chain. You've got problems with the existing Home Depot, Lowe's, Sears. In fact, many people don't even realize that Sears is the largest in the industry with about 1%. They're doing about $3 billion a year in home services, and it's a challenge because people flock to the safety and security with a brand like Home Depot with Sears, but they don't want to deal with the burden. They don't have really unique, easy-to-use tools. There's a lot of processes. Service.com has built a chat functionality, and basically you text with your family and friends, why not your service pros? And so while I expect there to be a lot of competitors in the space, I think the market is so big that we'll have plenty of room to be able to compete. And I've done it before. My last business, I was one of 3,000 businesses in that, and I grew it to number 208 before number 7 came along and bought me. So
that's all we have for questions. All right, close it up with last pitch for this evening. We have Kristin Welch from Split, SPLT. They were in this t-shirt I'm wearing, Techstars Mobility. Is anyone familiar with that? It's a Techstars accelerator in the Detroit area, just going into its second year. Split's an enterprise carpooling platform focused on the commute, combating the congestion in cities around the world, and saving time, CO2, and money. Sweet.
Thank you, good. Thanks. Thank you, Brian. And hello, everyone. It's really exciting to be talking to you about Split tonight. I'm sure you've heard a ton about ride-sharing companies, especially in the B2C realm, and I'm here to tell you that Split is different. We are B2B. We've created an enterprise-level platform, which actually we sell into corporations, municipalities, universities, and hospital systems. I'm Kristin Welch. I'm the head of business development and corporate strategy at Split. In the United States, every year, 128 million Americans commute. They waste 6.9 billion hours on the highway, and $160 million is the quantifiable amount of productivity wasted. But the solution is fairly simple. If we decrease the cars on the road by 5%, we get more freed up highways at a level of 50%. So enter Split. We're not your typical ride-sharing company. There are a lot of companies out there, and yet congestion hasn't gotten any better. Split comes in and creates collaborations and partnerships with existing service providers, existing options in the mobility space. There are a lot of benefits of splitting. I could run through the slide. I've got a slide that has 20 of them on there. But one example is Honda Motor Company is using Split to mentor employees. The CFO once a month or twice a month is riding into the office and having interaction with employees that otherwise wouldn't have availability to someone at that level. So this is the app itself, and we are mobile. This is the home screen where you choose to be either a driver, a rider, or flexible in your carpool. And then on the next screen, you're actually setting up, it's the center of this slide, you're setting up the days of the week that you want to participate in the carpool, and it's on demand, so you can change this later. But the big IP factor for Split is actually an on-time arrival calculation. We've created a dispatch at the back end that gets you to work. You input the time you want to be there, and it backs everything up with pickups and drop-offs and ensures that you're leaving at the right time, getting all the right people there. And then as you move through the app, you're just approving everything. You can actually decline a ride, and you can actually rate the rider or the driver. So that's another feature of the Split app that we find really important. Companies use a lot of methods to incentivize their employees, and one of the key ones, obviously, in Michigan winters is parking up front, but also gas cards, and a creation of legacy is being discussed at one of the OEMs we're talking to right now, where they're going to plant trees and put a plaque where people are at a higher level of carpooling. And so those people have created that instead of more cement for a parking lot. So does it work? What we're seeing is a 5x result from Split after implementation in a corporation. One of our first pilot programs easily went from 3 to 15%, and we're seeing that in the data coming back as well. And our geographical rollout, so we're based in Detroit, and we started actually 2 years ago. And we now have presence in the Bay Area, in San Francisco, and in Austin, Texas. And we have, obviously, some goals to be even further abroad. And we have client calls coming in from around the world. And basically, we want to be wherever the client needs us. So given that we're mobile, I'm actually down in Mexico next week talking to a couple of multinationals. But we want to be wherever there is a need. Mexico City, obviously, is one of those places. We have features rollouts that are really exciting as well. So we're talking about the enterprise level space right now for carpoolers, but we're going to be working with ride share, bike share, and public transportation. We're a good overlay with that. And eventually we'll get to where there's peer-to-peer rental for individuals that drive to work, maybe the driver in the Split app, and they can actually rent their car out for laundry pickup or whatever during the day, which seems an adequate use for an asset that's just sitting there anyway. This is just one other idea that we're talking about with 4 OEMs now. Head unit integration and in-dash abilities, so distraction-free driving. Another opportunity we're looking at is non-emergency medical transportation, getting people to their appointments together on time, maybe disabled, elderly, and that type of thing. Our deal pipeline is huge. This slide could have been a lot bigger, but I just wanted to flash the names and show you that there's a lot of opportunity out there for split. We have an amazing team. We've got a number of successful exits in the team. We've got people who've run global teams of over 100, and we have a lot of mentors and advisors both in Michigan and outside of Michigan. We have won up to 19 awards now and counting, and so we've gotten a lot of free press. We're doing all this on zero marketing spend and a very low burn rate, so that's really exciting. And these are just a few of the publications that we've been mentioned in recently. So my ask for today, if you know of a corporation that should or could be splitting, let me know. I'll talk to you afterward. Thank you.
Awesome. Really great. Got some questions.
Everybody knows everything about carpooling.
So I'm a driver and it takes me a half hour to get to work. And do I say like I'll leave 45 minutes earlier, or I'll leave 15 minutes early to get to work? Will your app basically say, hey, you can go pick up these people, and then I say, okay, I can pick up them? Or will you give me a route to go on?
We give you the route. We've got the on-demand routing, and you can we can set it at the macro level, the organization level, to be either 3 miles out of range or 5 or 10. Maybe people want to ride in with friends and they're willing to drive 10 miles out. But you would just put in the time you want to get to work, and it would work back to the available rides in the carpool for you.
And are these, so these you can know who these people are, or like what if does like a random person pop up and then?
Yeah, so in the profile, yeah, that's a good question. In the profile, you can put your picture, and I suggest that people do put their picture so you know who it is. But you can also call and text within the app, and the number never shows up, so it's anonymized as far as you don't have someone's personal cell phone or anything like that. But you can put a name, the last initial, and a picture. And you can actually text in the app as well, so you can tell them I'm in a blue Acura today, because tomorrow you might borrow someone else's car, type of thing.
Question back. So, do you foresee any kind of issues in terms of, liability? What happens if one of these drivers who are anonymous kind of get in trouble? Does that fall on you, or does it fall on them?
Right, it doesn't fall on us. And our terms and conditions, although industry standard, are fairly lengthy, and we've thought that through. And we've worked through the legal department with a number of major corporations, you recognize the name, and they've signed off on it as well. It's your car. You're taking responsibility for your drive. Some companies we've talked to have actually talked to us about, all right, so what if someone spills a coffee in the back seat and ruins the carpet or whatever? Does the company step in for, problems below a certain threshold? I'm not sure. That's maybe an organization level decision. But as far as liability, we are not. We are not. In that case, okay, so we have a number of partnerships, and we're actually going to be using Lyft as our emergency ride home button. So if your colleague goes to the bar and leaves you at work, you can push the emergency ride home button to get home. You can bar hop on your own though.
You said that Split creates an ecosystem and brings together what used to be a lot of competitors. Mm-hmm. What's the incentive for them to go through your app instead of through their own branding?
Good question. Access to the population. We're creating critical mass when you sell at the organization level. So we already, I've got a proposal on the table that I'm meeting with this week. 15,000 people. $300,000 is the revenue from that. And you can't get to 15,000 people without going into organizations easily. You know what I mean? With zero marketing spend. So I think it would be access and also functionality. Like when we're talking to people about first mile, last mile solutions and public transit systems, they're all about how do you get people to the end line of the train. I used to live in New York City. How do you get people to Greenwich to ride the train into the city? And you can get them there together. They can share the parking fees in Greenwich and ride, and then they're on the train going into the city. So it behooves everyone. It takes cars off the road and it has fewer parking spaces depending on the location.
Are you going to do background checks on your users, or how can I feel safe that I'm picking up someone?
So that's part of the benefit of selling into an organization. So you've already made the decision to hire on with that company. And so I used to be at Deloitte for 15 years, and we got much more background check than any rideshare program I think ever would. As far as if I rode in with a Deloitter, I would feel very comfortable in that environment. And so that's really the comfort and security. Actually, the Mexico City trip, we're talking a lot about security too, because it's very dangerous. You want to walk to your car in a group. You want to have people that are colleagues that have made the decision to work for that organization, the same one that you have. And we just feel like, talking to organization level, eventually when we're in more of a, like for head unit if we're integrated in the head unit and we're in more of a B2C model through an OEM, then we're going to look more at security. And we have had discussions with companies that can run background checks for us. So to participate in the program, at some point we might have, we've checked that box and we've done that check.
One final question.
Do you have your contractors get auto insurance? Because now they're riding for hire, which ups the price.
They're not riding for hire. So the maximum reimbursement within the app is 54 cents. That's the national rate at the federal level, below which there's not a taxable transaction. There might be a reimbursement of 20 to 25 cents per mile, but if you have 3 people in the car, then you reduce it to 10 cents, 15 cents kind of thing. They're not for hire. It's their own car. They're going to their workplace. They're just picking up people on the way.
But the insurance companies could say and increase their insurance because the risk for insuring that automobile is down.
Because you have more people in the car, or you're driving further?
Yes.
Yeah, and we have actually talked to an insurance company about creating a separate product from their perspective. It's something to think about down the road, but since there's not liability, it's someone's personal auto, they already have their auto insurance. We're not feeling too vulnerable about that.
Cross that when you get there.
Yeah,
All right,
not.
let's do that. That's our 5 pitches for this evening, but not finished quite yet. If you have any announcements you want to make, please make a small line down here and work your way in front of the camera. Just make an announcement to the crowd. So if you're hiring at your company, you're raising money, you're looking for advice, you're looking for a job, it's all welcome down here. So please kick us off.
Yep. My name is Ryan Gorley. I run TechR, which is the university's Student Venture Accelerator. Tonight, though, I'm speaking. I'm a representative of the Center for Entrepreneurship out of the university. We currently have 2 openings, one full-time openings for an administrative coordinator and a program coordinator for our mEngage program, which is responsible for engaging alumni of the university in our entrepreneurial programs. You can find out more at umjobs.org. If you do a search for entrepreneurship, both of those will pop up. And feel free to flag me down after if you have any questions or want to know what it's like to work for CFE.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Justin Adams. I run AlertWatch. We develop patient monitoring software for hospitals. So we're looking for a developer who can do some front end, some server-side code, native application type programming, but also someone who has some experience in hospitals since the language and environment is so unique.
You're going to pay them a lot, right?
It's a very satisfying job. We have raised money, so we are paying, and we have equity, and looking forward to talking to a couple folks. You can go to the website. Most of the emails go to me, or just email justin.adams@alertwatch.com. So, thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Hey, I'm Steve. So Alpha Django, we build early stage startups. So we're like the CTO and technical team for hire for early stage startups. We're hiring, but we're already talking to a couple people in the room, so don't necessarily need developers for that. But I'm also CTO and co-founder of a startup here in town called Genomenon that does genome interpretation software for diagnosing, treating, and researching cancer. And we are looking to hire developers, basically our first full-time hires after having raised our seed round, so we are also paying money and have some equity involved as well. So if you're primarily a back-end coder, I would say full stack really. We have a lot of web-based applications, but we also do a whole lot of back-end processing, so Ruby, Python, JavaScript on both front-end and back-end, that sort of stuff. Looking for developers.
Got a couple announcements, guys. I run the A2 Brew Tech, which is kind of like this, only it's easier for me because I just get to drink beer and socialize. So there's a one coming up August 30th. There won't be one 2 weeks from now like there normally is. I'll be in Vegas for DEF CON, gambling my life savings away. But there will be one on the 30th. It's on the same A2 New Tech page. Sign up there. I also run a group called Coffee House Coders, so if you want to learn how to build some of these applications here, please check us out. It's also on Meetup for Coffee House Coders. We'll be there next Wednesday. And then finally, if you are looking for a startup job, me and Mike run a startup called True Job, which has the best selection of startup jobs in Ann Arbor. Yes, even better than Angel List. We checked. So if you're looking for startup jobs, check us out. And talk to us if you want to get hired. Thanks.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Roselle, doing a lot of data science and web development here in downtown. We've got some exciting big opportunities in. We definitely need help, so we're aggressively looking for talent. R, Python, Ruby primarily, data science and web development. Chat with me or email chris@coursehack.it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Virendra Singh. We are a software development company. We develop software in healthcare industry primarily and pharmaceuticals. We are looking for people who have software development experience in .NET framework or PHP or Java. Also, we are also doing partnership with other companies who require help with the software development work. So we have a big team. Thank you.
Hi, we're Brandon Hazelton. I'm actually I am founder of a team in TechArb with Ryan Gorley. It's Lecture Fit. We're creating a system that will collect energy from strength training workouts. I'm currently the only founder and the only one on the team, and I'm looking for people to help me out, engineers or anybody who, say, electrical engineers or even the developers actually for some, not developers, but sorry, I'm still trying to even figure out, just mostly electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and that's about it actually. If anybody has any advice or cares about it, wants to hear more, I'll be in the back somewhere. Talk to me after. Thank you.
My name is Jordan Valdivia. I am manager at the University of Toledo Launchpad Incubator, and we just started a meetup group just like what you guys are doing here. We're just a baby. We're at our 4th meetup. I see a couple of people from here from that one, but we're doing a meetup next month about virtual reality and augmented reality. And if there's anybody that has any experience in those realms, would love to get in contact with you. We have one person that's going to be presenting on augmented reality who's done some development in that area. And if there's anybody that has any experience in that at all, or knows somebody that has experience in that at all, I would love to talk to you guys. And we meet the 2nd Tuesday of every month. So what's the name? T New Tech. So, thanks a lot.
Hi everybody, my name is Jason Owens. I have a company called Resonance Group based out of Toledo, Ohio. We're actually one of the incubation tenants in the Launchpad Incubation Center at UT. My company works with alternative energy technologies. We do electronics and control systems. We're also doing a lot of educational programs with the university, and we're interested in working with people who are interested in new technology, breakthrough energy type stuff. So if you guys have any interest in that, please feel free to come and see us afterwards. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Nancy from the Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority, and I just wanted to make a quick announcement to make sure everybody knows about a really cool event happening in August called Intermittent. People talked about it last month. It's August 5th and 6th, and it's 2 days of creativity and innovation. I'm going to be speaking. There will be a speaker from Farm Logs, Jesse Vollmer will be speaking. Guy and Joe from Nutshell and Notion will be speaking. The whole lineup of speakers is at intermittent.org. There's also a couple of mixers So you get to talk to a lot of cool creative people, but it sounds really fun. I think it'll be a really nice event, kind of like maybe like a mini, South by Southwest sort of thing. Very mini, but very cool. So intermittent.org, and if you go on my LinkedIn profile, I actually have a little a link to a special discounted tickets. So if you go on there and you check that out, I'm Nancy Shore, and you can talk to me afterwards. Just go to intermittent.org. I'm just promoting it. I have nothing to do with it except speaking, but it's really, really cool, and I think all of you should come. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, I second going out to intermittent. I would go myself, but I'm going to be in Northern Ontario on vacation, so that's my excuse. So yeah, I just have a couple announcements. Also, another meetup that I run that happens to conflict with TU Tech. Sorry, Toledo folks. Second Tuesday of every month. If you're in product management, product marketing, you want to meet other people that are also in that field, look for Ann Arbor Product Meetup on meetup.com. This was just announced yesterday. I wanted to announce it here. The 7th annual Accelerate Michigan Innovation Competition just opened up for applications. It takes place November 3rd. Grand prize $500,000. Runner-up $100,000, and so on. I'm not too familiar with this, but Doug pointed me to it and said, "Hey, make sure you tell NewTech about this." So accelerate.michigan.org. I'm sure there's people in this room who know about it, but you got that idea brewing and you want to turn it into some initial funding, it sounds like a good opportunity. Second to last announcement, if you want to join our virtual community that we have, is online all the time, find us on our maidenA2.com/Slack. That'll put your email in and you can join the maidenA2 Slack. About 200 people on so far, rooms popping up in all different areas, and people connecting. So I like it better than getting an email. That's how you can get a hold of me. Our next event will be in this room on Tuesday, August 16th. You normally hear me saying, if you know anyone that wants to pitch, but we actually are all booked up. So it's going to be focused on the Desai Accelerator. It's the second year Desai Accelerator has been running. It's here in town in Ann Arbor. You've heard from one of the portfolio companies in previous months. Actually, both My Swim Pro last month and a little bit earlier was Ash and Anvil, the Shorter Guys clothing company. So all 6 of the portfolio companies will be pitching next month. Add an extra 10 minutes to your evening. Hope to see you guys here. And if you do want to pitch, or you know someone wants to pitch in a future month, organizers at a2newtech.org, or find me on our Made in A2 Slack, and would love to get you lined up for September. That's a wrap. A bunch of us will be going over to Pizza House later if you feel like continuing the conversation and grabbing a beer or some pizza. We'll be over there. Thanks for coming out, and have a great evening.
Steve.